Testing, 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 testing. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we have something really exciting for all of you sales development representatives and business development representatives out there. This is the ultimate SDR, BDR success guide. Let's dive right in. Today's video is broken out into 4 sections. Section number 1, essential skills. Section number 2, AE alignment. Section number 3, best practices for outreach, my personal favorite section because I've made 70,000 outbound cold calls. And then the 4th and final section is how to measure your success. And I have an actual system that you can copy that I actually use in my job as an account executive today. I spent the first 18 months of my software sales career as an SDR, absolutely grinding away, 100 cold calls a day, until I finally promoted to an account executive. So all this information is based on firsthand experience and what has worked for me. Section number 1, essential skills. There's 3 critical skills every SDR, BDR absolutely needs, hands down, and I'm going to explain examples of each. Skill number 1, time management. Skill number 2, curiosity. Skill number 3 is resilience. Beginning with time management, what you'll find is that there are specific activities, we call them revenue generating activities, that actually contribute to your success. Making cold calls, sending emails, adding prospects to sequence, meeting with your account executive, doing self-development, crafting personalized messaging, doing account research. Those are all revenue producing activities. In most cases, all hand company meetings, going to the bathroom, eating lunch, watching a YouTube video in most cases, unless it's this channel, but you're already subscribed, because this is development. Those are non-revenue producing activities. And what I experienced when I first started is I was well-intentioned going into the day. I knew what I needed to do, but I oftentimes failed to do my plan because I did not manage my time properly. I said, I'll do a cold call block this afternoon, and then all of a sudden, some group meeting gets put on my calendar, and I miss my cold calling block, and I totally fail the day, and I end up missing my quota. Time management is critical. Plan out your day. Doesn't have to be super regimented blocks. Just identify what are the specific activities you need to actually generate your pipeline target or book your demos, and that's when how to measure success. The final section will actually be super relevant. The next essential skill is curiosity. The way I define curiosity is you are, of course, interested in your prospects, in your clients, in your customers. What are their incentives? What is their business focused on? Ultimately, making money comes from offering service to someone else, especially in enterprise software, B2B. These are long, complex sales motions, very expensive. The more curious we can be to seek to understand our prospect and their business, the better off our messaging is going to be, the better service they're going to experience. And I would also say curiosity towards your product, the specific industry niche your company sells into, and your career in general, and why enterprise software is the best business model out there. That's what keeps me showing up, because I'm super fascinated by that and maximizing my potential. Finally, resilience. Fortune is in the follow-ups. You are paid to be told no as an SDR. So if you are not willing to show up day in and day out and get absolutely body bagged on the phone, then it's not going to be the right career for you. People ask me all the time, Trent, how do you deal with the failure, the rejection? You post a video, no one watches. That is par with the territory. Dealing with that psychologically and emotionally is a prerequisite for success. And if that concerns you, then this is not the right career path for you. And I would maybe switch into marketing. The next section is AE alignment. I think that this might be the most important one and the most underlooked. What I mean by this is, in most cases, SDRs, BDRs align with an account executive. The account executive has a book of business, a territory, a list of 1,000 accounts that they can sell into. The SDR may work with one account executive, in which case this is even more important, or they may align with multiple account executives. The SDR's incentive is based on setting meetings for that account executive. And ultimately, the only way the SDR gets paid is when the account executive approves that meeting into a qualified opportunity. So that means you, the SDR, needs to set up a meeting, prospect needs to show, your account executive needs to show, and then the meeting needs to progress into a future next event. Your account executive, the more they like you, the more likely they are to help you out. If it's a borderline opportunity, maybe they're more likely to accept it. If they get a lucky inbound routed to them that's unassigned, maybe they message you and say, hey, go ahead and add this to Salesforce, create this for me. That's exactly what I do because I like my SDR. We meet weekly. That ongoing weekly cadence is critical. It is the SDR's responsibility to show up to that meeting with a plan, with data. This is what I did last week. This is what I learned. This is what I'm working on this week. Most SDRs are passive and assume that the AE is going to do that work for them. In most cases, they're not. I do my best to collaborate with my SDR, but the more the SDR can do to add value to me, and it does not have to be just setting meetings. They can call a really important account, understand the competitive landscape, and identify who might be the right person in the account. That information is really valuable, and that shows me they are actually doing work. So if you're an SDR, BDR out there that wants to go from hitting 75% to goal to 100% to even pushing 150+%, the AE alignment is critical because you need some give me's. That's the only way you're going to consistently exceed your quota. Section number 3 is best practices for outreach, and there are 3 specific best practices that I have identified. Number 1, fortune is in the follow-ups. Plays into the resilience, essential skill. Number 2, value proposition. And number 3, call to action. What I mean by fortune is in the follow-ups is I think about following up similar to compound interest. The earlier you can invest your money in, say, an index fund, VOO, V-O-O, the more it's going to grow over time. So you got to set it and forget it. The same thing with following up. The more you can consistently follow up with a prospect, the more name recognition there is, the more they see your company, and the more that they will respect your diligence and your professional persistence. Follow-up is often and as frequent as you can without being annoying or without being spammy. So that plays into the next piece, which is value proposition. When you are consistently following up, are you annoying them and saying, following up on the recent email I sent you, did you see it? Of course they saw it, but they didn't reply because there was no value proposition. The value proposition goes back to, in the first section, curiosity. Do we understand the prospect, their business, their incentives, the buyer persona, our product? How does this all come together so that we can service the customers, so that we can help them be more successful in further their goals? If we're reaching out hoping to just set meetings, generate pipeline, get paid commission, you're only worried about your goals and servicing yourself. That doesn't seem very effective to be successful, because if you are more focused on serving who you are reaching out to with a genuine value proposition that is well thought out, then they're more likely to want to do business with you because you've demonstrated how you can actually help them. And then finally, call to action. Sales is all about progression. If I meet with you, we identify an area of opportunity that we can help with, I am going to propose a next event. We always must move forward with agreed upon next steps and next events, because time kills deals. And if you have a meeting and you don't come away with that meeting with a scheduled meeting on the calendar, your odds of ultimately winning that meeting go down drastically. So whether it's a cold call, you need to have a call to action to set up that initial meeting. On that initial meeting, to progress that discovery into a solution presentation, you need a call to action to progress the opportunity forward. Progression is key, and the only way you get that is by having a specific call to action and saying, is there any reason why we can't go do this right now? Get their feedback, call them out on it, because if they will not agree to your call to action, that's a red flag. All right, the fourth and final section on the ultimate SDR BDR success guide is how to measure your success, and I've identified 6 specific metrics that you'll want to track. Metric number 1, number of leads added to your sequence daily. My benchmark is 10 per day, and this to me is it's a leading indicator of success, because the more prospects you add to sequence, ultimately the more fresh pipeline you're going to get. The second metric, answer rate on your cold calls. The third metric, set rate from your cold calls. The fourth metric, show rate from those meetings you set via cold call and email. The fifth metric is conversion rate. What percentage of those initial meetings convert into a qualified opportunity? And then the sixth metric is pipeline generated. At the end of the month, how many meetings have you set? How many demos have you set? How much pipeline has been generated? Because in most cases, that is going to be your quota as an SDR, BDR. And everything we've talked about to this point in the video, the essential skills, the AE alignment, the outreach best practices, and the metrics to track, all of that leads to the single most important metric, pipeline generated at the end of the month. That is why you have a job. That is why you are getting paid. That's why I make these videos. Happy pipeline, happy life. That's all we have for you here today. If you enjoyed today's video and found value in it, hit the thumbs up button now and share this video with a colleague of yours who is also a fellow SDR, BDR grinding on the front lines if you want to see them be more successful. And subscribe to the channel now for more videos just like this one.